Incremental greetings. Let's continue with the Supermemo Course, the Pleasurable expansion. Now is the time okay, what happens if I don't enjoy using Supermemo? Let's expand on that.
Cannot really study Supermemo without going onto Supermemo Guru and reading about why Supermemo helps a lot and what's the problem with schooling. You have to understand. I have so many people asking me. I'm not enjoying the learning inside Supermemo. What can I do? And I just say you're doing something wrong. It's not Supermemo's fault. It's your fault. Supermemo is just telling you there's a problem with that. If your items inside Supermemo do not work, it's not Supermemo's fault. Supermemo is a very precise.
Okay, this needs interpretation in order to understand his point. In the sense that could be interpreted in a different way. So basically, in Supermemo, you can add whatever you want. Then Supermemo will show this to you eventually. And then you will process that information and make the flashcards out of what you have chosen to remember. And then those flashcards will be shown to you, so to guarantee you keep this in the long-term memory. Nice. Based on that, no secret. But what if I don't like this? Could be because perhaps the content I'm putting on Supermemo, it's boring. I don't enjoy it myself. So even if it's not rocket science. If I don't enjoy the content in the real world, I will not enjoy it in Supermemo either, right? Perhaps because you're studying this open course, you didn't choose to study that, to learn that. You have a curriculum imposed, for instance.
I would say cutting edge tool for learning, but at the same time, it exposes a lot of your learning problems, a lot of bad habits.
Here we go. Another topic, another huge area is that sometimes, even if you enjoy it, it's something I do with some tutorees I had that they are clueless, that I never learned by myself, self-directed, free learning. I don't know where to start. It's okay. What do you like? What you will read for enjoyment, for as a hobby, for pleasure. Sometimes they choose something that for me could be not that interesting, but every person is an entire world. So let me think of one person that he wanted to read about history for many places of the world, not just on the area he lived. It's okay. Let's start with the Wikipedia page about history and so on. So even if the content was really hype, was pleasurable for him, was interested, he was not having this feeling using Supermemo with incremental reading. Why? Not because of the content was boring, but it was because of the exposure, let's say the shock factor of reality that, hey, I'm not being fed the contents. I don't have the structure, the curriculum, that this is now this lesson, it's like arbitrary, it's an open world. What do I do? I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I feel anxiety of so many decisions I have to make. It's like a wild animal that has been born and lived always in captivity in a zoo, and then is released in the jungle or savanna or whatever the environment of that animal, and they are like, what the heck? I'm not ready to live on my own in my natural habitat, because that animal never experienced that. You are more or less in that area. Could be. If you experience displeasure or anxiety, could be, it's likely it's that case. That, hey, I haven't always been in captivity. I have always obeying, do this, do that, study this, cram that. That once you're free from your cage, mental cage, and you are free to choose what you want to learn, is how do I hunt animals so I can eat? That animal in the wilderness will die of hunger because his an ability of hunting whatever prey whatever animal, I want to stay abstract, whatever animal they usually eat, or perhaps are plants, you never know. So here in that case, the bad habits acquired at the school are inhibiting you to have fun, to enjoy the process, even if it's something you enjoy. One other analogy, silly analogy, but I think it's even easier to understand. Imagine you like a movie or a movie series, Star Wars, whatever. Imagine that. So in my case, I will say Deadpool and Wolverine. By the way, I still haven't watched that movie yet, but I want to. It's something I will enjoy. The dark humor, this kind of thing, is okay. I'm not into superheroes per se, but I like this kind of humor, so I'm sold. Nice. But I go to the cinema. That's why I didn't do it, by the way. But hey, it's dubbed in Spanish. I want the original version. I don't want dubbing. It kills the everything for me. On top of that, I'm surrounded by many kids that they do a lot of noise. They eat. They speak out loud. They're on the phone. Even playing is well. I like the content. I like the movie, but not in the how it's presented to me in the overall environment. You see what my point? So if I watch the movie alone at home, even if it's on a smaller screen with a headset, so the technology will be simpler, I will enjoy the movie. Because at the end of the day, it's about the content. The analogy is that on the cinema, on the movies, it's like with the bad habits. Lack of respect for the others, it's that, and all of this. So, if you're not used to non-linear learning, you always start and follow a linear fashion, all of the contents. Now, first point, subsection, you never decide what to read. You just follow whatever you're fed without thinking. This will create a lot of turning points. Especially you have never did that. So it is like you take a leap of faith if it was Assassin's Creed kind of thing. That makes sense. Don't get discouraged. When I offer tutoring, it's not just a Supermemo as a tool. Sometimes, depends on the person. It's also about this free learning that, wow, I'm lost. And it's not about learning how to use Supermemo, how to free learn, because you can free learn without Supermemo or without incremental reading, and even without space repetition, obviously. It will just be less efficient. But it's not about this. It's about how I undo, how I unlearn what I have acquired. Those assumptions, those beliefs, those skills. I want to undo all of that. Because now I realized it doesn't help me when I learn for myself. I don't want to extend this anymore. Just the overview. I already went super beyond of what I wanted, but it's because it's very, very important. This transcends Supermemo as a tool. Eventually, if I can, I have the means and the economic support, I will do a course for self-directed learning. That will be tool agnostic. Let me know if you're interested. In the meantime, I will just do it one by one cases with tutoring. Link in the description. For now, nothing more to add, and see you in the next video.